Let's be honest. You're over 50, maybe already retired, and you're thinking, flight simulation. That could be my next big hobby. But before you spend a single dollar on fancy new gear or a brand new PC, I want you to take a simple readiness check with me. Are you really ready for this hobby? Or is it going to drive you mad and drain that wallet? Stick with me for a few minutes, score yourself as we go, and by the end, you'll know. Start now, wait a bit, or pick a completely different hobby. Can you comfortably sit in a chair for 60, 90, 120 minutes at a time, 3 to 5 times a week, without the body completely seizing up in the process? This hobby involves a lot of sitting and a lot of looking at screens, either regular monitors or in a VR headset if you decide to go down that path. On a monitor setup, those screens need to be ergonomically positioned, roughly at eye level, not low down on a desk so you're craning your neck over like some vulture over roadkill. In virtual reality, whereas you don't have the neck craning problem as much, but you will be wearing something on your face, and your head and your eyes are locked into that virtual world for long stretches. If you already get eye strain or headaches from screens, you'll need to manage these sessions really carefully. So quick self-check. If you can sit through a TV episode, a movie, or perhaps a football match without lying on the floor afterwards, you're probably fine. But if 20 minutes at the computer has you reaching for the heat pack, then I reckon you should invest in some ergonomics before you dive in. And trust me, I'm been there right now. This chair, nightmare. And one more very important point. This is a sedentary hobby. It is fantastic for the brain, but it does absolutely nothing for the step count. So if you're going to fly in your virtual aircraft of choice, just make sure you're getting some real world movement as well. Walks, stretches, gym, gardening, whatever works for you. Let's not dance around it. This hobby can be relatively cheap or frighteningly expensive if you allow it to be. On the lower end, you've got what I call the console style or the entry-level setup. With the console style, you're looking at around about $1,000 to get you going. That'll give you your basic console, Xbox, a yoke or a throttle, and potentially, well, you might squeeze in a second-hand pair of rudder pedals on the used market. But on the other end of the spectrum, well, that's how you end up with people just like me. A more serious sim setup will cost you anywhere north of $10,000 and then some. For that, you're going to buy yourself a high-end PC. That alone will set you back $6,000, $7,000 potentially. Why? Well, because you're going to want to put that big 5090 graphics card in and potentially some of the huge RAM that now is costing an absolute arm and a leg. And I'm referring to that DDR5. You want to get yourself a quality yoke, throttle, rudder pedals, potentially force feedback. And if you're deciding on screens versus virtual reality, well, you might want to make those screens triple, 3 monitors to look at for your peripheral vision. Or you might want to go for the high-end virtual reality headset. Or maybe you want to do both. And then we get into the software side, aircraft, scenery, add-ons, the list goes on. So ask yourself honestly, am I okay with starting small and upgrading slowly over months, maybe years? Or do I know that deep down, I am going to get hooked and I want that full cockpit experience? Look, neither answer is wrong. You just need to be comfortable with the level of spend that you're prepared to outlay, and ideally have a clear line in the sand before you start. If this video is helping you decide whether flight sim hobby is right for you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Around 78% of you who watch these retirement-based flight simulation videos are not yet subscribed. So I would really appreciate it if you could smash the like and hit that subscribe button. It'll help push the video out and it keeps me making this honest, no BS content. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This hobby is not plug and play. With a small caveat, maybe for the console users. But if you're on a PC, not at all. Expect a considerable amount of tinkering. In this hobby, you are going to install big chunks of software, deal with regular sim and driver updates, add aircraft, scenery, and utilities, tinker with graphics, controls, and camera settings. And every now and again, something will just stop working. Peripherals that were fine yesterday, but today they're not recognized anymore. A Windows update can roll through overnight and decide to reset or potentially break your carefully tuned in settings. A USB device that has been solid for months suddenly is not the case anymore. So if installing a printer driver already ruins your day, I reckon flight simulation has the potential to push your blood pressure through the roof. But if you're the sort who can shrug your shoulders and say, right, what's broke now? And if you don't mind poking around menus, looking at forums, and trying a few new fixes, you'll be fine. And for many of us, that tinkering, well, to be honest, it's actually half the fun. So quick test. If you expect to plug it in, press one button, and everything's perfect forever, this hobby will frustrate you. But if you can live with the idea that things will go wrong from time to time, and you'll have to fix them, well then you're in pretty good shape. Personally, I don't think that flight simulation is a 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there type of a hobby. To get from an initial setup to what does this button do to flying a proper circuit, it takes time and repetition. Look, this varies for everyone, but realistically, 1 to 5 hours just to get you feeling the basics of the controls. 5 to 10 hours, and maybe you're flying VFR-based circuits with a bit more confidence. 50 plus hours, and now you're getting into proper procedures, flight planning, instruments, longer flights. You're not going to get that with the odd hour or two every few months. You're going to get it, ideally, with 2 to 3, maybe even 4 shorter sessions every week. And I reckon between 45 and 90 minutes at a time. So if your weeks are already packed with family commitments, kids, grandkids, caravan trips, golf, and perhaps that odd nap on the couch, well, let's be honest with ourselves. Can you really carve out the time for this hobby without resenting it? Your first landings, they will be ugly. Mine were, actually, mine still are. The menus will be initially confusing, especially the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 controller configuration menu. You'll forget which button does what. You'll bounce, float, and occasionally you'll invent a whole new way to miss the runway entirely. So if you go into this thinking, well, I'm pretty good at these sorts of things, I'll nail this straight away. Hate to say it, but it might be a bit of a shock to the ego. But if you can laugh at yourself, treat each messy approach as a potential puzzle to solve, and enjoy that process of getting that 1% better each and every flight, I reckon the payoff is massive. Your brain stays active, you're constantly learning, and you come away with that incredible, I did it feeling. So once you're set up with your equipment and you're loaded in, here's how I recommend you start. A simple aircraft, a 172 Piper Alpha or something small. Set it for the daytime, set it for clear weather, and start with some short hops and circuits around regional based airports. Stay clear of the big airports. No airliners just yet, no stormy approaches into busy hubs, and no joining online networks full of people who sound like real world ATC on Nespresso. If you can enjoy those simple flights, the view, the feeling of nailing that circuit, the calm, you will absolutely thrive in this hobby. But if you crave instant complexity, 10 monitors, and a 747 on day one just to be interested, there's a good chance that you might burn out fast. So let's tally this up in your head. Physical. Can your body handle regular, seated sim sessions? And are you going to be able to balance that with real-world movement and exercise? Financial. You okay with everything from the simple setup to possibly going down the rabbit hole later? Tech. Comfortable enough to tinker and troubleshoot, even when Windows decides to throw a wobbly? Time. Can you give it a few sessions each week? Expectations. Are you ready to be absolutely terrible at first, but prepared to enjoy the journey? Mindset. You're happy to start simple and build up slowly? If most of those are a yes, welcome. You are probably ready to start your flight sim journey. And I genuinely think you are going to love it. If a couple of those are, not yet, that's fine. Fix the chair, sort the budget, free up some time, bit more active, then maybe come back. Virtual skies aren't going anywhere. And if you just realise by watching this video that this isn't for you, well, that's a win as well. You've saved yourself a heap of frustration, time, and money. So drop a comment down below and tell me, which checkpoint were you strongest on? And what checkpoints are not quite there yet? Or do you have another checkpoint that you think can be raised as well and is relevant? I'm keen to hear all of your thoughts. Thanks for coming along on this video with me today. Really do appreciate it. If you liked it, please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed, do me that big favour and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. Thanks again. Look forward to catching up with you on the next one.